Welcome to another video of Food Nourish Deep Dives, the videocast of foodnourish.net, where we explore topics like health, food, supplements, and alternative approaches to health and wellness. Today, we're diving into a really fascinating article that makes you question something we all do: suppressing a fever. It raises the possibility that our search for quick comfort might be setting us up for some serious long-term health problems. So let's start with a scene we all know. You know that feeling, right? That achy, hot, just miserable feeling starts to creep in. A fever's coming on, maybe a headache to go with it. What's your first move? For pretty much all of us, the answer is a beeline straight to the medicine cabinet. And what do we grab? It's always the usual suspects, isn't it? Tylenol, Advil, Motrin, Aleve. They're in every household, our first line of defense whenever we feel discomfort. We just pop them without a second thought to get on with our day. We just assume they're totally safe. I mean, they're sold over the counter, right? But the article we're exploring today makes a pretty bold claim that if we actually stop and look at the data, a much more complicated and, honestly, a pretty concerning picture starts to emerge. So, you know what? Let's do that. Let's look at the numbers. The whole argument here is that these medications we think of as basically harmless actually come with some major risks that most of us just don't know about. Wow. Just let that number sink in for a second. Over 100,000 hospitalizations every single year. And this isn't from some obscure prescription drug. This is from NSAIDs, that's non-steroidal anti-inflammatory drugs, like the ibuprofen and naproxen so many of us take for everyday aches and pains. And what about Tylenol? That's often pitched as the safer choice, right? Well, the data shows 56,000 ER visits, thousands of hospitalizations, and hundreds of deaths every year in the US just from overusing it. The big point here is that neither of these options is risk-free, not even close. And the potential problems go even deeper than that. The research mentioned in the article links regular, long-term use of these drugs to a pretty frightening list of health issues. We're talking about things like heart attacks and strokes, kidney failure, even damage to your small bowel, and it might even get in the way of your body's natural ability to heal. So this all leads to a really big question, doesn't it? Why are we so dead set on getting rid of fevers in the first place? We've been taught to see a rising temperature as the bad guy. But what if it's actually on our side? This really lays out the whole debate. On one side, you have the standard reasons. We suppress fevers to feel more comfortable and reduce stress on the body. But on the other side, you've got the biological reality. A fever is a powerful part of your body's own defense system. It kicks key immune responses into high gear to fight off infection. The article argues that shutting it down might actually hide important clues, and, get this, could even make you sick for longer. And believe it or not, this is not a new idea. This quote is incredibly powerful. It takes us all the way back to the 1918 flu pandemic. Doctors back then noticed that patients who were allowed to run a fever had a much, much better chance of surviving. That was a huge, life-saving lesson from history. This all builds up to a central idea from natural medicine called the suppression hypothesis. The theory is pretty simple. When we use drugs to just shut down a symptom, like a fever, we're not actually curing anything. We might just be forcing the illness to go deeper inside our bodies. This way of thinking is based on a principle called Hering's Law of Cure. The idea is that true healing moves an illness from our deeper, more important organs out to the surface. It's a process of pushing things out. Symptom suppression, according to this theory, does the exact opposite. And this lays out the potential path perfectly. So picture this. It starts with a simple acute illness. You get a fever or a rash. Step 2, we suppress it with medication. The theory says that the problem doesn't just vanish. It gets pushed inward, only to maybe pop up again down the road as something much more serious and chronic. Hey, for just a moment, let's talk about wellness. If you're looking for great deals on supplements and health products, head over to foodnourish.net/deals. We've curated offers from top brands that we trust, like Perpetua Life, iHerb, Source Naturals, Nootropics Depot, and Bioptimizers. The link is right there in the description for you. All right, let's get back to it because this is where the article presents what is maybe its most startling and controversial point: a potential link between Tylenol use and neurodevelopmental disorders. The source we're looking at points to a big, systematic review of 46 different studies. And the findings? Well, they're pretty sobering. Most of these studies found an increased risk of neurodevelopmental disorders in kids whose moms used Tylenol while pregnant. And the more they used, the higher the risk. We're talking about disorders like autism, ADHD, and other learning and behavioral issues. I mean, just look at these numbers from one of the reviews they cite. A 29% increased risk for later needing ADHD medication, 37% for hyperkinetic disorder, and a really staggering 51% increased risk for autism with hyperkinetic symptoms. These are correlations that are just too big to ignore. Now, as the source material points out, this isn't some fringe idea being kicked around in the corners of the internet. It highlights a 2017 press conference where this exact link was discussed at the federal level in the US. And as you can imagine, it kicked off a huge and very heated debate in the media. So when you put all of these pieces together, what's the big picture? The core argument of the article is that this isn't just about one drug or one illness. It's about a fundamental shift, a paradigm shift, in how we even think about being sick and getting healthy. This table just nails the difference between the two philosophies. The conventional approach is all about getting rid of symptoms. The goal is suppression. The natural medicine view is the opposite. The goal is to support what the body is already trying to do, to allow for the expression of symptoms like a fever, hoping to get to a real, lasting resolution. And really, it all comes down to this single, powerful thought. In our rush for immediate relief, for that temporary comfort, are we making a dangerous trade without even realizing it? If you found this valuable, you should definitely check out the resource article. We've got it linked for you in the description. Please like this video. It really helps us grow our channel and keep bringing you these deep dives. And of course, make sure you subscribe so you never miss another episode. So, we'll leave you with that final question to think about. Is our modern quest for immediate comfort accidentally creating chronic illness? It's a challenging question for sure, but it gets right to the heart of what we've been talking about today. Thanks for watching.